Halloween on with Alonzo's Psycho Circus of magic and mayhem.
Please welcome Ed Alonzo.
You know, a lot of magicians, they do, you know, sleight of hand. And I more like to do what I would call like maybe a sleight of tongue, which is more like when you're doing like jokes and magic at the same time. Okay. Like this is a trick with a pen. And if you just tip it right there, oh, okay. I think this could be a problem.
Yeah.
This is fake. See, the real magicians like Chris Angel and stuff, they use camera editing and special effects to do the magic. I don't need all that. I just need this. This is it. And
Kids love that.
I'm actually built like the Angel dude under all this, but I don't like to brag.
When I wake up in the morning and the alarm gives out a warning, I don't think I'll ever make it on time.
Built like Mario Lopez, basically.
You still keep in touch with the old
Mario's
gang?
the only one that I see. You know, the old gang, a lot of them are successful and working, and they don't speak to me anymore. No, they're busy. So I rarely run into. But I do see Mario, you know, once in a while, because he's always out and about shooting his show on the streets or looking for prostitutes. I mean, looking for prospects for other TV shows.
Oh.
And so I do see him, and you know, he even had me over for a barbecue last year, which is fun.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, he eats like a horse. Like he just eats a lot of chicken and beef, and like I guess that's how you get that big. I don't have to do that. I blow up balloon animals, and just the stretching of them builds huge. This is why clowns have big muscles, if you've noticed.
It's now my pleasure to introduce the star of Dance Party. Let's give him a big hand.
Speaking of Saved by the Bell,
Yes.
when you auditioned for the job, did they expect magic?
They didn't. They didn't. You know what happened is I didn't even have an agent at the time. I had a manager, and he was getting this service where it's called the breakdown service, where you would see what roles, you know, are being looked for. And he had this service, and he saw they were looking for just a wacky guy, and so he submitted me. They wanted a real character kind of a person, and I didn't think that I would fit the bill. But
because you didn't have the hair back then.
I did actually, yeah.
Like
you know what? When I went into the audition, I looked like this, except I put an apron on, and I was already a magician, so I thought I'll throw in a couple, you know, gags in the reading, and that kind of spiced it up. And once they saw that, they said, "Well, we have to have you on the show and do some tricks." So,
right.
Yeah, because that was a fun gig for sure.
Well, and it added quite a layer to that character, which that could have been a character that could have just been there.
Absolutely. You know, the producer originally went into this restaurant called Ed DeBevick's, which is a Chicago-based thing where they have all these characters.
And all
they sing, they dance, they get on the counters, and they do wacky stuff. So he wanted a waiter like that. And so I guess I fit the bill, but instead of singing and dancing and doing things that talented people did, I did card tricks and, you know, would pull a rabbit out of my pants or something, you know.
Or could it be magic?
When did you decide that you were going to that you could mix the comedy with the magic? And
yes, when
you see a lot of magicians, and they are not funny.
This can happen. What happened is I did start off like a regular magician as a kid, where I wanted to be like a David Copperfield type, or, you know, and then it just didn't feel right, and so I quit it, and then I got more involved into acting, and then when that slowed down and there weren't enough jobs, then I thought maybe I could combine a character with the magic, and that would put a whole new spin to it, and so that's what I did.
See why Britney Spears hired him for her upcoming Circus tour, the Misfit of Magic.
Where'd the character come from? Is it anybody you knew, or is it just...
No, you know what? I always loved Groucho Marx, and as a teenager, the eyebrows are like Groucho, even though he used to paint all that stuff on.
Yeah.
We had similar features, and I used to just, you know, love those Marx Brother films. And so I always liked the cadence that he had on stage with the way that he would speak, you know, like, I'd like to see you bent over in front of a hot stove, but then I couldn't see the stove. You know, this kind of stuff. So I always loved that. So I wanted to develop something on my own.
Let's talk about your best friend, Neil Patrick Harris.
Yes.
And magic, I guess that's the connection that really brought you two together?
Strangely enough, that's how I met him, was he had just moved to Los Angeles and started taping this show called Doogie Howser. And Elizabeth Berkley, who was on the Saved by the Bell show, already had met him. They were with the same agent or something. And so she said to him, "You've got to meet this guy on our show. He's a magician. He'll dazzle you. You'll love it." So she really built me up, and I've met him. And he loved magic, and then he started showing me stuff that he knew. And before you knew it, we were spending every day together actually creating magic tricks for my show. Then when Doogie Howser was done with, when it had finished its run, he was sort of out of work for a little bit. He did a couple movies and things to keep him busy, but he had a lot of free time on his hands, and so he started hanging out backstage with me at my shows and would run curtains or help set up props or run things live during the show, or even would come out in kind of a costume or, you know, play the part of an invisible assistant or whatever. So that's how it grew through the years, and so he learned a lot of magic by just hanging out with me, and now he loves it. He was the president of the Academy of Magical Arts for a few years at the Magic Castle in Hollywood, and what a success he's had. He's so talented, of course.
Your earlier shows, more kid-friendly.
Yes. Yeah. Once I realized that looking like this, I could get away with a lot of naughtiness, then I took advantage of that and decided to put a lot of that in my act. Because now they see me surrounded by hot, half-naked girls.
But they're a little more covered up earlier on, right? In the early shows.
In the early shows, the daytime shows, they're covered up. But at the nighttime Halloween haunt shows that we do, which is geared more towards, you know, late high school and teenage and college. We really want that kind of crowd. There's people jumping out. You will crap your pants in some of these mazes. I mean, it depends. But for the most part, people show up with colostomy bags. They're prepared. And so I like to do the same thing in the theater show here, is to sort of shock and scare them in a strange way.
Okay, so what are we doing?
I wanted to do a little trick. Now, a lot of magicians will just do regular stuff, but I like to do things with normal objects. These are those mints. It's always good to have a mint before the show. That's okay. That's all right. We have a cleanup crew. They'll pick
the
those.
ducks like Tic Tacs, right?
Yeah, they'll eat them. All right, here we go. There it is, a little mint. Here's the trick. This is actually something you can do at home if you follow along. I'm going to make it disappear. Gone. That's it.
And fresh breath.
Oh, so fresh. This is the tough part. I'm going to make it come back. Here we go. Here it is. I'm just sort of bringing it up from my throat. Just kind of bring through the nasal passage. Woo. Okay. There it is. Oh, okay. Too far. Okay. Got it.
Oh my.
Ta-da! Care for a mint?
I'm good, thank you though.
Magic.